Buckle up, excellence junkies, because this podcast is definitely for you. Welcome to Rockafuel. Do you wish that you could surround yourself with people that love to kick ass just like you? Well, come to my party, baby, and meet some of the brightest stars in the entrepreneurial galaxy, because it is my mission to give these entrepreneurs a platform to declare what they are on this planet to accomplish and to show you why they are rocket fuel. Woo! Hello, my Rocketeers. Oh, do we have a show for you today? I mean, have you guys wondered why you're posting and posting? I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you may actually even be paying somebody, a team, to be posting and posting for you, and hardly anybody's like reacting. It's like horrible. Well, today we have the goddess, the empress of social media engagement. I'm telling you, you need to stick around because we are going to learn from Ginna Tassanelli. She is the founder of Stylishly Branding, and she is an expert on optimizing your visibility on social media and doing it with style. Hello, Ginna.
Hi. Oh my gosh. I love that intro. I just can't like rock out.
I know. Wait a second. I have to talk after that. Like, yeah, it's typically we mosh after that, but you know.
No, seriously. That's the best intro that I have seen on a podcast. That was so fun. I felt like I needed to be on a roller coaster. It was so fun.
Well, I'll tell my team. Thank you. And by the way, if you don't know about the roller coaster thing, then watch us on YouTube, because then you'll see the actual video that goes along with that music. Yeah. Okay. And then you'll be able to catch the intro. But Ginna, I have been waiting to have you on the show. You've been like super busy. You actually just launched a book, didn't you?
I did. Oh my gosh.
Your eyes are like, wait, did I?
I did. I know that it feels like it was ages ago, but it was only like 2 months ago.
Yes. Well, tell me a little bit about that first.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So awesome. It's actually a series, and I'm not the only one in it. So this is the first version, and then this is the version with me on the cover. But it's myself along with 17 other amazing authors. And so we share our stories of overcoming mediocrity. That's the name of the book.
I love, because that is what Rocket Fuel is about, to completely bust people out of mediocrity. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, all right. So I have it here on our video. If you catch it, please buy Overcoming Mediocrity. I think it's important. We can get stuck when we're surrounded by people that just are like, well, I guess this is what life is. And we're saying, no. Surround yourself by some other people that are on a mission to overcome mediocrity. And so go buy that like super stat, especially my Rocketeers, because that's what we're about, overcoming mediocrity. So that was a little sidebar. I'm sorry I didn't even mention to you that. But so tell us what you do, why you're so passionate about branding and stylishly branding, and how long have you been doing it?
Yeah, so I work mainly with one-on-one, because I also own a social media marketing agency. So I've got an amazing team that helps me with our medium to small business clients. But I am more passionate about working with my one-on-one consulting clients. And so they're mainly women in business, coaches, consultants, network marketers, thought leaders in their industry, experts. And I have been doing this for almost 14 years. So I feel like, literally when I left corporate America, Facebook had just launched a couple years prior to that. So it was not a big thing for businesses yet. Yeah. And I became really passionate about working specifically with the personal brand side of the business and helping women with their personal style as well, and image consulting, and then aligning those together. Because what I noticed was when I left corporate America and I started to do all of these networking events, I realized that a lot of women, including myself, I had to really clean up my like elevator pitch.
Mm-hmm.
We just weren't showing up in a way that aligned with the words that were coming out of our mouth. And so that really is what inspired me to get really focused and honed in on working more with women entrepreneurs and how they show up both in life and then also on social media
Yeah.
with their business. Yeah.
But that's really important. And first of all, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we need to connect because I'm like all about, yeah, I wear black t-shirts, black V-necks, whatever. And I'm like, I need to like zhuzh it up a little bit, but I love black. I really do. It's just, so
That's your
yeah,
signature style.
yeah. So we'll
And
talk.
your red lipstick.
Yes,
That's how I
exactly.
remembered you from when we met virtually. I remembered
Really?
you because of the black and the red lipstick. It's your thing. It totally
Ah,
is.
yay. Yeah, but now I kind of need like fancier black clothes. I mean, especially, like when you're shown like chest up and like, I
Right.
don't know, some
And,
spikes or something. But we'll talk. We'll talk. It's one thing like when you're presenting yourself like in that screen, that little box, right? But you
right,
could
right.
definitely that's so funny. And now I remember I didn't like reapply my lipstick. Oh, forget it. Let's do over. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so what I wanted to get into is like a lot of times, and I know like in my corporate with my corporate kind of background, right? I resisted being part of my brand so
Mm-hmm.
much. I was like, no, 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 no. No, my brand is this, my brand is that. And like, because in the corporate world, we don't typically see a person that is connected with the brand. And so we kind of feel like our clients are going to think that we're smaller as a result of that. Now, has there been a transition in general, or is this just more of a small business approach?
I think this is honestly a small business approach because I was the same exact way, Wanda, same
Mm-hmm.
exact way. And I came from an advertising background, but advertise helping national brands with their advertising. So
Mm-hmm.
there was no face to that. And so
Yeah.
when I left and I started my own agency, first of all of my accounts were private. I had a private Instagram. I would never post anything publicly on my personal profile on Facebook. It was still always set to private. My business page, when I finally decided to launch that, it was my logo, not even my image, and because that's just what I thought I needed to show up as, and I was so wrong about that. Um, you know, I was fortunate. I had clients that came along with me. So I already had a business built. But when
Mm-hmm.
it was time to actually find new clients, it wasn't happening as fast as I was expecting it to with all of the work and all of the content dumping I was doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't paying off. And I realized that was the missing puzzle piece.
Mm. And
So
is it just
showing
like
up.
human behavior, like where it's like, well, I kind of want to know, like who am I? Well, one, who am I working with, especially if it's one-on-one work, but
Right.
who am I giving my money to? Who am I trusting? And I mean, from a small business perspective, there's a lot of emotion, right? Around like, oh my gosh, this is a big investment. Like no matter what it is, like everything is a big investment because it's coming from your pocket.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, there's a whole psychological component when people are working with service-based experts.
Right.
There's this on the subconscious level, that's where they are making decisions. And so if we're not connecting with them emotionally, then we're just going to seem like another salesperson, another product.
Yeah. And you know what?
And
Just
yeah,
I'm just reflecting on the fact that we came from corporate, but I do feel that there is value for corporations to recognize that that feeling of greater trust and emotional connection when you connect a person to it. And so it'd be interesting to kind of just brainstorm because I'm a super nerd and I love to like think about these things. But like what are some of like the major brands that could benefit? I mean, when you think about Tesla, right? It's
right.
one thing if it's Tesla, but knowing who's behind it and such, it gives you like a greater connection. Either you like totally hate it, or you could say
Right.
like, I want to cheer Elon Musk on and I want to support it. So
Right.
it's kind of interesting, but it wasn't a thing that was taught
It
to us,
wasn't.
you know.
No, it wasn't. Now, there's the influencers and micro influencers, which
Hmm.
a lot of the larger brands use now. So that I think, slowly, well, kind of rapidly over the last, I would say, 5 years, it's definitely becoming that. I'm seeing more of the larger brands putting a face to their brand.
Yes, exactly.
There's so
And it's
much
not
clutter.
anybody, yeah,
You
and there's
have
not
to.
anybody like in their organization, but it's just like, oh, that person has a following. Yeah, so in their own way, they're kind of creating that human connection
Right.
to that. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. But I'm hoping that the folks that are listening, if you are an entrepreneur, that you're like they're taking notes, because she dropped a couple of nuggets while we were talking. First, switching your Facebook profile to public. Like literally, it like for 2 years I was fighting it. Like I was literally like,
Me too.
or just friending people that weren't really my friends, but I know that I wanted to create a connection, because in my mind it was like, well, LinkedIn is for that and Facebook, but this is where everybody is socially. And
Yeah.
it was hard. It was hard for me to make that transition.
Yeah, same here. And as a mom too, you want to keep certain things private. So, one thing that I do is I'm going to get a little technical. There's
Yeah.
something that you can do inside of Facebook, and you can create what's called custom lists. They used to be called friends lists, but they changed that a few months back. And you kind of like organize your connections. And so when it's time to post something, you can choose that specific list. So only the people on that list see it. And then there's
I
other things that you can put to public, and other things you can just, like if I have a list, it's my family and friends, and I'm posting things with my kids, I'll just have it shown to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you can get very
Ah, I love
intentional.
that. Oh my gosh. All right. So, public Facebook page, you can make certain posts private, or you can set them to a custom list, which
Yeah,
is
for your
awesome.
personal profile. Yeah, your personal profile.
For your personal profile. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's important too. Yeah, because what you log into Facebook on is a
Mhm.
profile, right?
Right.
And then a page, there's actually pages,
Yep.
and isn't there something else like or groups, pages or
Groups.
groups, right?
Right.
So yeah, and it gets so confusing, but as small business owners, we really need to know that detail, like personally, or as I love to say, leverage experts, because
Yes.
because you could learn like the basics, but the experts
Right.
know all like the goodies. Well, what's interesting is that, when I introduced you, we were talking about really getting frustrated with engagement and
Mhm.
figuring out like, oh my gosh, I'm putting all this either personal effort, or you might hire assistants and such to keep action on your pages, and this is like Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and we're just not getting action. And it's so frustrating when you say like, oh, like this post or comment, and it's like boop.
Mhm.
So you you put together some really cool stuff. So my Rocketeers know that guys, I want you to get inspired and jazzed, right? And do something about it, though. I don't want you to like listen to the episode and then be like, wah, 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 like I should have followed Ginna and I didn't, right? So Ginna put together this really awesome guide that's called "How the Social Media Dance Takes Two to Tango," which is I love this, and it was literally like for me. So first of all, I'm going to tell you how to get it, and then we're going to talk about what's in this a little bit more, right? But this is an essential guide on actually how to boost your social media impact, boost that engagement, and achieve the rock star results that you actually deserve. Like I can't wait. I literally just before our interview here, I just spoke to our group and social media manager. I'm like, yeah, you got to start doing this. So anyway, Text engage, of course. Text engage to 411321, and you're going to receive how the social media dance takes two to tango. You need this now. All right. And if you're outside of the US, you know that I do not forget you, my dear Rocketeers. Please text to +1 909 741 1321. That's the number. The message is engage. In both of those cases, make sure you provide your email address if we ask for it, because that's how you're going to get in your email inbox. And you're going to definitely want to check out this PDF and take some notes. And actually, Ginna gives you an exercise to do, so you don't just read about it. You actually can see the needle move, which is super exciting. So tell us a little bit. I don't want to drop everything, but tell us a little bit about why you recommended this and what it talks about.
So I think that the number one complaint that I hear about social media is, what's the point? I don't get any engagement. You know, I'm wasting all this time creating content. I'm constantly posting like everyone tells me to do. I'm posting once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, or sometimes people do even more than that. Mm-hmm. And it's just crickets. And so there are, first of all, the algorithm changes all the time. And that's another word that people really don't like, but it can be your best friend if you actually play with it, if you join it. So that's where the dancing comes in, because you typically don't dance by yourself. I mean, sometimes it's fun to dance by yourself, but to get the most out of all of these platforms, you also have to use it as a user, not just as a marketer. And they can tell the difference. And that's what a lot of us that are using social media as a tool, instead of using it as a tool, we use it as a place to sell.
Yeah.
And it's social media to be social. Right?
Well, yeah. So we basically, and this is really interesting because it's almost like when you realize it, it's like, oh, do I do that? Oops. Right. But it is social media. And then we're like, yeah, let's use social media to like just broadcast stuff out to people one way. And there's like no conversation. And so when you mentioned that, as we were preparing for the interview, I was like, holy cannoli. And essentially what you're saying is, if you want people to look at your stuff, you need to actually go out and engage in their stuff too, right? So like the algorithm, and it logically makes sense that because of what Facebook was created for, right? Mm-hmm. The algorithm is saying, okay, I'll show your stuff to the people that you care about, that you're engaging with too. So if you don't care about anybody, why am I showing them your stuff?
Yeah, there's only a limit. There is a limited amount of space on the newsfeed. So they're going to give preference to those that are actually using the platform for more than just promoting themselves, right? So it's not a one-way street. So one suggestion that I suggest, and this actually, it really, really helps, is that you, for every one piece of content, you engage on 3 other pieces of content.
Ooh, Nelly, write that down.
Yeah. So
love it.
For everyone, you engage on 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And when I say engage, it's not just like, like or love their post. It's actually intentionally like typing out a nice comment. Oh my gosh, that looks like so much fun. Oh, your kids are growing up so quickly. Like, actually have conversations. Well, and be intentional.
Yeah, and it makes sense because, okay, if you think systematically, then yes, the algorithm says, oh, there was an engagement. Now, does it currently, and of course it changes, but does it currently weigh like a comment more than a like, or a heart more than a like? Does it have that kind of
definitely knowledge? Definitely if you can get, well, I mean, it's not like written anywhere, but just studies have shown. So shares, when something is shared, that's like the highest level of priority, of ranked. that you can get. So if you can get a piece of your content shared, that's when things really start to go viral and you are
Mm.
showing up in the algorithm more. But for you as a user, you definitely want to comment more so than just like or love something. I do believe that the love reaction is going to outweigh all of the reactions. And then, I would say the like and the care.
Right.
But when it comes to engaging, commenting, and then also personal messages through Messenger
Oh,
are big.
interesting.
That is calculated as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Interesting. Yeah, and it makes sense system-wise because when there's limited amount of space, it's like, okay, how are we going to prioritize who we're going to show this to? All right, we'll pick people that have shared things that they've had personal conversations with, that they've actually made the effort to comment on, or
Mhm.
it totally makes sense. Ugh,
Right.
right. And then so that's the one thing. And then like you were saying, when you actually do comment, then there's the people factor of like, okay, when Jane actually sees the post, because now Facebook put it in front of them, is she
Mhm.
going to care enough? And she's probably going to care a little bit more because you commented on her kid or her cat or her something
Right.
personally and it wasn't generic. And of course, it makes sense. And what happened, it's wonderful that you're bringing it up because we just think of it as something to check off.
Right. Yeah. And there's also that, I think, the technology wall. It's like we become robotic and
Yeah.
we forget that we just need to have conversations.
Yeah.
Again, we just need to be social. So, something that I always suggest too is when you're posting something, even for your business, is ask a question first in the caption versus like,
Mm.
spewing all of this information. Ask a question because that lets your viewer, the audience, know that you actually are interested in hearing from them first. It's not about you. And
Mhm.
so if you can ask a question in the beginning of your post, especially if it's for business, it's going to create more engagement for you. And then the more engagement, the more the algorithm is going to pick you up, and then the more people you reach, and so on and so forth. It's just a snowball effect.
Right, right. Oh my goodness, so interesting. So tell me though, when you were talking about kind of being a little bit more personal in your comments,
Mhm.
like how do you do that when you get to the point where you have an agency like
Mhm.
working on your behalf? Because I think that's what gets really scary is saying, "Oh my goodness, if I have to be personal, then that kind of like keeps it on my lap." And I don't want our Rocketeers to be thinking about that because in order to grow, you need to leverage experts. But can you kind of explain how you guys would help
Mhm.
somebody like me that's like, I don't want to let go of my comment. Like, it's like you're afraid that somebody's going to comment not like how you would comment, not in your voice, or say something like
Right.
you're like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't say amazing like every single time. You know what I mean? And then so like how do you handle that?
Yeah. So when it comes to your personal profile, typically you won't we won't get into your personal profile. So
Okay.
that
Okay.
that stays separate because what happens with that is somebody else is going to have to log in as you, and that can
Mm.
get tricky. Facebook can actually shut you down for that. So you're supposed to log in on your own. There are people that do it. I'm not saying that you can't, but I just would stay away from it.
Gotcha.
Um, and so it's really on your business profiles, and an agency would be more involved. But even so, on your business profiles, you still want to sound like a human, not
Yes.
like a business brand. So what we do is you know when we go through a whole onboarding process, we get very personal as to like knowing exactly what you like, what's your personality like. We watch your videos to start to get to understand your tone, your
Mm.
messaging. It's a process. It's like we study you
Yeah.
to really, really understand you as a human being. And any really good agency will do that for an entrepreneur, for a coach,
Mhm.
for a consultant, because if they're just going in and just, creating all of these generic posts for you, that's not going to help you
Right.
anyways. So that is that's a social media manager. We do more strategy, and
Yeah.
we do management too, but it's strategy and developing you as a personal brand. So as an actual brand, not so
Mm.
much showing up not so much pushing your products. It's first pushing you and getting people
Mm.
to know you as a thought leader and an expert. So as much of the human Wanda that we can put out there, that's how that's going to be portrayed.
Watch out, world. I don't know about that.
But see, it's like you're magnetic, right? So, and everybody is unique. Everybody has
Well, to their
their own,
people, right? Like to
right.
their people, and
Yeah.
you're right, and it takes a lot to choose visibility. And I mean, I'm super passionate about helping people with that because um it is transformative for your business, but I also recognize that there are a lot of things that we say to ourselves, horrible things. Like we're
Mhm.
worried about other people saying bad things and we're like, oh my gosh, our worst critics, right? And
Yeah.
but bottom line is, how are people going to get to know you and like you and trust you? Like the fastest way is to show up and to integrate yourself and your spirit and your personality into your brand. And so, I mean, the work that you do is really important. What would you say are like some of the things that people say in resistance to it? Where they're like, I'm not quite ready yet. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, I'm a huge believer in video and live video. And in fact, that's what the platforms are prioritizing. So
Mm.
I encourage a weekly video of some sort,
Video. Yep.
video. And there's so much that you can do with that. So it just makes your life easier too. But so when somebody says, but I don't know what to say, that's usually the thing. I don't know what to say. Nobody's going to care about what I say. Well,
Mm.
they're not going to care if you're not showing up, because they're not going to know what you're going to say. So,
Right.
and
Step
so,
one.
yeah. So it's honestly, it's about being authentic. The the videos that used to be what we thought were, viral and had a lot of production behind them, that's not really what works so much anymore. What works
Mm.
now is really just real, authentic, raw video.
Yeah.
That's why reels are doing so well, because they're very simple, they're quick, and they're authentic. And even transforming things over, repurposing things over to YouTube. You don't have to have all of these, high tech things popping in and out. Um,
Mhm.
it's just a matter of showing up, and it doesn't have to be all glamorous. I mean, you see my background, right? You have a
Mhm.
background
Which
like
looks
that's
fabulous.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's no, it's true. And when you think of the content that you consume, it it's not necessarily super fancy. And so I think we wind up we put all these stipulations, these barriers, requirements on ourselves because we're
right,
just afraid, right? And
right.
and it's okay to be afraid. It makes sense. But I always say, look, even to myself, I'm like, okay, Wanda, you're a little wackadoo and you need to zhuzh up your black and whatever, but guess what, I have friends that love me the way I am,
Right.
and so I just have to show up that way, and then if I want to zhuzh up, I zhuzh up. But it's I just have to remind myself that, like, there are people in my life that like me and love me for just who I am, and I'm just being the same person, and it just so happens to be seen by more people. And
Right. And also something that really helps, and this helped me in the beginning, is remembering that it's not about you when you're on video.
yes.
It's about your audience. It's about that one person that you can make an impact
Mhm.
to. It really is.
Yeah.
Even if just one person's watching. I mean, I did video for a long time and nobody would watch. Most people watch on the replay anyways. But I still kept doing it because number one, it's content that's there always.
Yeah.
And I can do so much with that one piece of content. But also, I know if just one person finds that video that I can help, that I can serve, then I've done my job. And that's what I'm passionate about, is helping others. So
yeah. That's gold. It just moves yourself out of the way and says, look, that there is somebody. I mean, especially when you believe in what you're doing and whatever transformation it is that you deliver to your clients and your prospects. Like that's, So with that being said, oh my gosh, we're wrapping up. We could talk about this forever, but Rocketeers, if you are a business owner, and I know, from a stylishly branding perspective, you love to work with women business owners, but your social media agency and such, you help everybody, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I would highly encourage you to text engage, ENGAGE, just in case you were like, huh? But text engage to 411321 and you will immediately receive How the Social Media Dance Takes Two to Tango. And Ginna actually provides you with tips of things that you can do like today and literally execute like on a daily basis. I think you said like a half an hour a day, and you'll start to see the changes. That you cannot afford to not have this guide. Okay. If you are showing up in social media. So text engage to 411321. You're going to receive this, and you'll have the opportunity to access other resources that will boost that social media impact, because boosting your social media impact means you're boosting the impact on the people that you desire to serve. If you're outside of the US, remember, pick up that phone, text to +1 909 741 1321, and the catchword is engage. Don't forget to provide your email address. All right, guys, thank you so much, Ginna, for joining us. I wish we could spend more time. Any final words? Although what you just said was pretty poignant. It's not about you.
Stay social.
Yes.
And have fun and just be you. Yes.
Yeah. Take the stress out of it. Yeah. Take the stress out of it and engage with an expert, because that algorithm changes all the time. And I think that's also important, to be able to have somebody that is on the ball and can kind of help you do the dance even more and not step on any toes.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much. And to you, Rocketeers, I hope that you have a rockin' day. Bye now. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, every one of our episodes is boosted by a value-packed keyword called a catchword. Yeah. This allows our audiences to text to receive even more value from our guests. So take advantage of that great value. And if you share your expertise by guesting on podcasts or TV or speaking in front of live or digital audiences, then you're leaving anonymous fans behind. So go get a catchword at catchwords.com, KETCH words.com, and use podcast20 as a promo code for 20% off your setup fee. Look, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Rocket Fuel podcast so you never miss your jolt of rocket fuel. Until next time, adios.